Some people fall in love like they're stepping into a quiet garden. One path, one hand, one clear yes. And then there are the ones who fall in love like they're walking into a room with two open doors, and both doors whisper their name. Love triangles don't always begin with betrayal. Most of the time, they begin with an unspoken hunger to be chosen, to feel alive again, to prove something to yourself, to finally rewrite an old story where you didn't get the ending you deserved. A triangle is rarely about two lovers. It's about two versions of you, the one who craves stability and the one who craves magic, the one who wants peace and the one who wants intensity, the one who wants a home and the one who wants a horizon. Astrologically, certain signs are more likely to end up in triangles because they're wired for duality. They see multiple sides of the truth, they bond fast, they romanticize potential, they attract attention without trying, or they fear choosing wrong so much that life chooses for them. And here's the twist nobody likes to admit. Sometimes these signs don't get trapped in triangles. They create them unconsciously because a triangle buys time. It delays the moment of real commitment. It delays the moment you have to say, this is what I want, and I'm willing to lose everything else for it. These are the 5 signs most likely to keep repeating the triangle pattern: Gemini, Libra, Pisces, Scorpio, Sagittarius. In a love triangle, each sign has a different role. One is tempted by curiosity. One is haunted by indecision. One is pulled by empathy. One is addicted to intensity. One is allergic to limitation. And in every triangle, there's a hidden question. Are you choosing love or choosing the feeling of being wanted? Now let's talk about the first 2. Gemini, May 21, June 20th, the door that won't close. Gemini doesn't chase drama. Gemini chases meaning, and sometimes meaning looks like a message at 1:11 a.m. from someone they swore they were over. A love triangle for Gemini often begins innocently, a friendship that turns emotionally intimate, a harmless flirtation, a reconnection with an ex that starts as closure and turns into a spark. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the planet of conversation, so their heart opens through words. They fall in love with minds, with timing, with chemistry that feels like lightning in the bloodstream. Why triangles happen? Gemini can love in chapters. One person gives them safety, the other gives them adrenaline. One person understands their day-to-day life, the other understands their secret inner world. Gemini doesn't mean to split their heart. Gemini simply refuses to amputate parts of themselves to fit inside one relationship. But here's the hard truth. A triangle exhausts Gemini faster than any other sign. Because Gemini has to keep track of stories, schedules, moods, and consequences. And eventually, the very thing they wanted, freedom, starts to feel like a cage made of lies. Forecast plus chances of getting out happily. In the coming weeks, Gemini may face a moment where one conversation changes everything. Someone will ask for clarity. Someone will demand honesty. Or Gemini will finally get tired of feeling split. Your chances of getting out happily are high, but only if you choose the Gemini way out. Truth. Not half-truth. Not technically I didn't. Truth. Gemini is the sign most likely to find a third door solution, redefining the relationship with honest boundaries, choosing one partner and rebuilding trust through transparency, or walking away from both because the real relationship Gemini has been avoiding is the one with themselves. Do you have to choose between 2 partners? Most Geminis do eventually. And here's the shocking part. Gemini usually knows who they'll choose. They just don't want to admit it yet because admitting it means losing the other door forever. Gemini's triangle warning. If you keep to people, you lose yourself. Because your nervous system can't live in suspense for long. Who should avoid triangles? By all means. Gemini should avoid triangles when they're already in a relationship that is healthy and reliable, because once trust breaks, Gemini may never feel fully safe inside that love again, and the regret will hit months later like a wave. Your exit spell, Gemini. Ask yourself, do I love this person? Or do I love who I become around them? Then choose the life that lets you sleep peacefully at night. Libra, September 23, October 22nd, the heart that tries to save everyone. Libra doesn't fall into triangles because they're reckless. Libra falls into triangles because they're beautifully, dangerously considerate. Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, and Libras often carry a secret burden, the fear of being the villain in someone else's story. They don't want to hurt anyone. They don't want to choose wrong. They don't want to be judged. And so they postpone decisions, and life fills the gap with complications. A Libra triangle usually looks like this. Partner A feels safe, steady, socially right, partner B feels passionate, faded, emotionally intense. And Libra feels like they're standing in the middle holding two fragile hearts trying to keep both from breaking. But Libra forgets something important. You cannot keep two people from hurting by quietly hurting yourself. Why triangles happen? Libra is magnetic. People project dreams onto Libra. Libra's kindness can feel like intimacy. Libra's charm can feel like a promise. And when Libra feels desired by two people, it triggers a deep Venusian wound. What if love disappears the moment I fully choose it? So Libra keeps options open not out of greed, but out of fear. Forecast plus chances of getting out happily. Libra is entering a cycle where the universe demands a definition. Expect an ultimatum, a turning point, or a moment where someone says, I can't share you. Your chances of getting out happily are very high if you do one thing Libra struggles with. Choose your truth over your image, because Libra often stays stuck not because they don't know what they feel, but because they're terrified of how the choice will look to others. A happy ending for Libra is possible, but it requires clean lines, clear commitment, respectful closure, no emotional overlap disguised as friendship. Do you have to choose between two partners? Yes, unless you want the triangle to choose for you. And triangles always choose brutally. They end with exposure, resentment, or emotional burnout. Also, Libra has a pattern. Sometimes they don't choose either person. They choose delay. And delay is still a choice. It's just a choice that slowly poisons love. Who should avoid triangles by all means? Libra should avoid triangles at all costs when they've finally found someone stable and good, because Libra's heart breaks the hardest when they realize they traded peace for possibility. They will replay the what if for a long time. Your exit spell, Libra. Write this down. I am not responsible for everyone's happiness. Then ask, who do I become in each love? Choose the love that makes you feel safe to be real, not just admired. Pisces, February 19, March 20th, the one who loves the story. Pisces doesn't look for a triangle. Pisces slips into one the way you slip into a dream, softly, emotionally, almost without noticing the door close behind you. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, the planet of fantasy, longing, and soul connection. That's why Pisces can feel love before it's real. They sense potential, pain, destiny, unfinished karmic threads. And that's exactly how triangles begin for them. Pisces meets someone and instantly feels, I know you. Then another person appears and Pisces feels it again, because Pisces doesn't only bond with people. Pisces bonds with possibilities. Why triangles happen? Pisces is the sign most likely to confuse compassion with commitment. They don't want to abandon anyone. They don't want to be selfish. They hear a wounded partner's story and think, if I love them enough, they'll heal. And then they meet someone who feels like calm after a storm, and suddenly Pisces is torn between saving one love and finally choosing themselves. A Pisces triangle often includes secrets, late-night confessions, emotional dependence, and that dangerous phrase, you're the only one who understands me. Pisces becomes the emotional medicine, until Pisces is the one who needs saving. Forecast plus chances of getting out happily. Pisces is heading into a phase where reality taps the glass. Something becomes undeniable, a pattern, a lie, a hidden commitment, or the moment you realize you're carrying the emotional weight of two people. Your chances of getting out happily are moderate to high, but only if Pisces stops romanticizing suffering. The happiest endings for Pisces come when they choose the love that feels like clarity, not chaos. If you're currently in a triangle, the universe will give you one of two gifts soon. The truth comes out and forces movement, or Pisces gets emotionally exhausted and finally chooses peace. Do you have to choose between two partners? Pisces often tries to choose both emotionally because their heart is huge, but life rarely allows that long term. Eventually Pisces must choose between the love that needs rescuing and the love that invites Pisces to grow. Who should avoid triangles by all means? Pisces should avoid triangles at all costs when one partner is emotionally unavailable, married, complicated, or endlessly not ready. That's Neptune's trap. Pisces will wait, hope, forgive, and dissolve their own boundaries until they wake up one day and realize years passed. Your exit spell, Pisces. Ask, is this love? Or is this my empathy wearing a wedding dress? Then choose the relationship that respects your nervous system. Scorpio, October 23, November 21st, the love that turns into a storm. Scorpio doesn't do casual. Scorpio does bonding. When Scorpio loves, it's instinctual, consuming, and absolute, like they've signed a contract with the universe. So why would Scorpio ever be in a triangle? Because triangles for Scorpio aren't about variety. They're about power, truth, and testing. Scorpio will never admit this easily, but sometimes they get pulled into triangles when they don't feel safe. If Scorpio suspects betrayal, if they feel emotionally deprived, if they sense someone hiding something, Scorpio's survival mode activates. And then love becomes strategy. Why triangles happen? Scorpio is attracted to intensity and secrecy. They can magnetize people without trying. They also have a I see through you aura that makes others obsessive. And in some cases, Scorpio stays in a triangle because it keeps them from being fully vulnerable. If there are two people, Scorpio can keep part of themselves guarded. But Scorpio pays a heavy price for this. Because Scorpio's heart is not built for shared love. Scorpio needs loyalty like oxygen. A triangle triggers jealousy, paranoia, and emotional extremes, especially if Scorpio is the one being one of two. Forecast plus chances of getting out happily. Scorpio is entering a cycle of revelation. Expect confessions. Expect a secret to surface. Expect someone to show their true priorities. Your chances of getting out happily are high, but only if Scorpio chooses integrity over revenge. Scorpio is tempted to win the triangle, but the real victory is freedom from the game. If Scorpio chooses a partner, that relationship can become unbreakable if Scorpio sets non-negotiables, transparency, loyalty, and consistent actions. If the triangle continues, Scorpio's heart will harden, and love will become suspicion instead of safety. Do you have to choose between two partners? Scorpio usually forces the choice either consciously or through emotional pressure because Scorpio cannot tolerate ambiguity for long. They will demand clarity or create a crisis that reveals it. Who should avoid triangles? By all means. Scorpio should avoid triangles completely if they're already in a good relationship. Because once Scorpio feels betrayed, they may forgive, but they will never forget in the same way. It changes the emotional chemistry forever. Your exit spell, Scorpio. Ask, am I choosing love? Or am I choosing control? Choose the love where trust doesn't feel like a gamble. Sagittarius, November 22 December 21st, the one who falls in love with freedom. Sagittarius doesn't fall into triangles because they're heartless. Sagittarius falls into triangles because they're restless and they're honest about wanting more life, more sensation, more truth. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion. That's why Sagittarius can feel caged by routines, labels, or expectations. They love the spark of newness, the thrill of being seen in a fresh way. And sometimes, without intending to, Sagittarius keeps a door open somewhere, an admirer, an old flame, a connection that feels like an adventure. Why triangles happen? Sagittarius fears choosing wrong more than they fear being alone. They don't want to wake up years later thinking, I settled. So if they're uncertain, they explore. They gather experiences. And triangles form when Sagittarius is emotionally committed to one person but mentally curious about another. Also, Sagittarius is incredibly attractive when they're not trying. Their independence reads like confidence. Their humor reads like flirting. Their friendliness can be misread as invitation. And suddenly Sagittarius is in the middle of a triangle they didn't even name. Forecast plus chances of getting out happily. Sagittarius is approaching a defining moment, a relationship decision that demands maturity. One person will ask for commitment. Another may offer excitement without responsibility. Sagittarius must decide what they truly value now. Your chances of getting out happily are very high if Sagittarius is willing to be brutally honest first with themselves, then with everyone else. Sagittarius can absolutely have a happy ending because they're not meant to suffer in secrecy. They're meant to live in truth. But if Sagittarius tries to keep both, karma gets loud, misunderstandings, exposure, emotional fallout, and a reputation hit. Sagittarius hates being seen as dishonest, so the universe often forces them to clean it up fast. Do you have to choose between two partners? Usually yes. And Sagittarius tends to choose the partner who gives them space, not because they don't love deeply, but because love for Sagittarius must feel like a wide sky, not a locked room. Sometimes Sagittarius chooses neither, leaves the triangle entirely, and later meets a love that fits naturally because they finally learned the difference between freedom and avoidance. Who should avoid triangles? By all means. Sagittarius should avoid triangles when they're with someone genuinely loyal and emotionally open. Because Sagittarius may not realize how rare that is until it's gone, and once trust is broken, Sagittarius can't joke their way back into safety. Your exit spell, Sagittarius. Ask, Is my heart exploring or escaping? Choose the love that feels like a journey you're proud to take. A love triangle is a teacher, but it charges tuition. If you keep repeating it, it's not because you're cursed. It's because you're being asked to learn one lesson. Choose what brings peace, not what triggers adrenaline. Because the relationship you're meant for will never require you to split your soul in half.